Blog
Good morning.
Talk Radio.
Good morning. This is Mara. Welcome to You Are Okay with Blog Talk Radio. Today we have the good fortune to have as a guest Anael to talk about Fire the Grid, which is a movement that still exists, and in fact they consider ours one of their biggest Fire the Grid events. And the grid is the electricity that runs between all of us, that connects us all. It's completely fueled by a God plug that came into us when we were born. And it's a part of our divine inheritance, our DNA. And we're hopeful to cause the grid to be boosted by the power of the peak of the Lionsgate portal reaching its peak in opening on August 8th, at the same time as Leo's moon, new moon, is at its peak, because those two together, it's at its peak. Those two events raise manifestations and increase abundance in happiness and love. And so we would be using that boost to boost the power of the energy being generated through an energetic forum, podcasts, to lift up and ideally diffuse and sanitize the negative energy that seems to be circling our planet, over which individually we have a lot of control if we can keep our power up, and enough of us can keep our positive energy up. If we can keep our thoughts in a positive vein. And Anael is familiar with such movements as we're suggesting on Monday. And that familiarity will enable us to have some ideas about what to expect and how to effectively do this. And today she's agreed to be interviewed, and she is the person who sang Be Still Thy Soul, and I'm going to play it for you.
Hello.
Hi, hello, Anael.
Oh,
How
Mara.
are you? Hi,
I'm fine,
yes.
and you?
You know, I'm doing all right, thank you, and thank you so much for calling in. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, please?
Well, I'm a homeopath, natural therapist. I've been singing for 20 years. I have 16 albums that were licensed around the world. In a new age singer. My artist name is Anael. Right now I'm doing a usual job, a very ordinary job. I've been working on Fire the Grid since the beginning, since when I met Shelly in 2005. I organized the first and all the meditations that followed with Celia. She's helping me. So, yeah, pretty busy.
You are, absolutely. Can you tell us a bit about Fire the Grid, please?
Fire the Grid is an event, several events now, but at the beginning it was only one. Shelly Samoiya Yates had an accident with her 4-year-old son at the time in 2002. They both drowned, and they both came back to life. She drowned around 15 minutes, and he drowned between 30 and 45 minutes. And
wow.
She started hearing voices while she was drowning, and they told her to let go and just die and not trying to breathe underwater. And she said, "Oh, that's my luck. A ghost talking to me while I'm dying." So that voice soothed her and told her everything is going to be okay, and you're going to be okay, and your son is going to be okay. So she crossed over, and something very different than the usual happened. She didn't go through a tunnel and seeing a light at the end. She ended up on a ship in the sky with 2 kinds of beings, 3 short ones and 3 big ones, tall ones. And they were made of liquid light. And they were the maker of chaos and harmony. And they were playing dice. And the 3 short ones were creating chaos, so the accident and stuff. And the big ones created harmony. So they brought solutions so she could survive and her son could survive. So after all this experience, which I won't tell in details because you can go watch it on YouTube. It's still there. Shelly Yates, Fire the Grid. You can find her story told by her. It's even better. They showed her how to decipher different tones within music, and they told her also that they were encoded messages in music and art, like paintings, books, and everything, to help raise the consciousness of humanity. And she came back to life when she got out of the hospital with her son. She was driving to Toronto, and she got the same voice coming back while she was driving and told her, what you did with a dying boy with a small group of people, you're going to do with a dying planet with a big group of people. And they gave her the date, July 17, 2007 at 11:11 GMT. And she didn't know what to do with that. She was looking in books and NDEs, experiencers, because she was having visions of energy fields between people. She was having constant messages from the light beings that helped her, but she didn't know what to do with that. So her mother came to Montreal, and she saw the Dr. Stephen Greer, because he was the ET guy for her. So when she came back to Nova Scotia, he told her, you have to meet this man. So the year after, she sent her to Montreal to meet Dr. Greer. And I was taking care of Dr. Greer, he created the Disclosure Project. And I was taking care of his books and stuff, and I was taking care of him while he was in Montreal, and I was going to see him in the morning. And she was there in the hotel lobby with him, waiting for me. And he asked me, do you mind if she comes with us to eat? And I said, no problem. And she started talking. As soon as I heard her voice, it was like, I know this woman. She's my sister. She's my family. I love her.
Wow, wonderful.
And 15 years before I met her, I had a vision. I was sitting by the bed with a friend, and I was just talking to her. And all of a sudden, this big black screen appeared in front of me. And I was not even meditating or doing anything special. I was just talking. And then this big black screen appeared in front of me, and I was looking at it, and I couldn't see anything. It was so black. And then all of a sudden, I saw a little gray crest, very dark gray, by the way. So it was very hard to decipher. And I said, "Oh, it looks like a planet." And oh my God, it's about to die or dying. Doesn't look good. So I heard a voice saying to me, and he chose this planet to show his glory. And I'm not a religious person at all, but that's what I heard. And then I saw a little dot of light appearing on the left side of that planet, and it grew bigger and bigger. And on the planet, I could see little dots of light appearing. Faster and faster, it did a chain reaction, and it exploded in a white flash of light, and it was so bright that I had to cover my eyes. And I thought, well, as soon as I put my arms down, it's going to be gone. But no, when I put down my arms, I saw a beautiful, perfectly clean, crystal clear planet, like healthy, vibrant, and like it looked like a jewel floating in space. The colors, yes. Everything was perfect. And they said, "We promise you, your planet is going to look like this once we're done with her." And I started laughing. I said, yeah, right. In 200,000 years, I won't even be there. And they said, no. I said, okay, no. How long is that going to take? They said an hour. An hour to do that? That's impossible. He said, yeah, you're going to all decide to do it together, and you're going to have help from outside. And then it disappeared. So I said to myself, do I have to create something? Do I have to invent a project? Like, what do I have to do to do that? How can I bring all those people together to do that? But I had no answer. So I put it on the shelf, and I just waited. And when I met Shelly and she told us her story, she finished by the exact same vision as me, in the same sequences of images. And
wow.
She was seeing a grid around the earth, but not me. That's the only difference between the two. And she said, "Oh, I must have dreamed it." I said, "I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't sleeping." So I grabbed her arm and I said, "We're going to do this. You're going to give me your phone number, and we're going to do this. I've been waiting for you 15 years.
Yes.
And she thought, "Oh, she's crazier than me." She believes me. So
well, it's believable.
She gave me her phone number, and I started calling her. And after, I was calling her once a week, not too insisting. And I was saying to her, "When do we do this, Shelly? When do we do this?" And she said, "We're not doing anything, Annie. It's my imagination." I said, "No, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not." And after 2 months, she stopped answering me. She even told her children to stop answering me, that I was crazier than her because I believed her. So, but I continued calling. And after a few months, she finally answered, and she said, "Before you hang up, Shelly, your experience. You have 8 doctors, like neurosurgeon, that came to see the miracle. You had hundreds of people that came to help your child. You had ambulance people that came to help you. How can you doubt? You have your son that you can sing to, you can play with every day because you followed the instructions of those beings. Don't you think you owe them something?" And then she felt guilty. And she said, "You're right, eh? I should, eh? But I don't know what to do." I said, "Well, you have to sit down and just ask. They cannot go over your will. If you don't want to, they have to respect you. So just sit down and ask." And she was getting more and more depressed, and she didn't know what to do, and she felt it was too heavy. And so I sent her my album, which is Spiritual Beings on the Human Journey, because on that album I did a song for Dr. Greer called Skycent Disclosure.
Yes.
So she received it, and she started listening to it, and her light beings told her, go listen to it in the bathtub. So she went in the bathtub, and she started listening to it, the album again. And she was thinking, I don't know when the disclosure song is going to kick in. And it was the last song. And then when I sing at the beginning, I sing in Latin. So she didn't know it was that song. But her heart chakra started to, there's a little light that started to grow and grow and grow. And then two threads came out of it and connected to a big spot of light up there.
Yes.
And then boom,
yes.
The whole project appeared in their head, like the symbol, the three parts, the history, the problem, the plan, the forward letter, the back of the font, the color of the font, the color of the back, the pictures that goes on. Everything was there except her story. She had to write it. She had to put a little bit of herself into the project.
Yes.
And she said, but the problem is we have to do this for free, Annie. Who's going to build a site for free? I said, well, I know someone. I said, the guy who did the album, he does websites. And I'm sure if you tell him what happened with the song, he's going to embark and do it.
And can I interrupt you at this point, Annie?
Yes,
I think
yes.
I would. Can I play Skycent? We don't have to do the whole 11 minutes, but I would like to play it and deal with this dog. Okay? So if you'll excuse me, I will do that. I will stop this in just a moment. This
Yes.
particular song just seems to resonate in me. I can't explain it, but my hands get warm. I feel as though I have visible energy surging through my body. It's always been one of my favorite, although Be Still My Soul is, or Thy Soul, is what I use to start my show here when I do Blog Talk Radio. This particular song is so, I feel it lifting my vibration. I can imagine what Shelly felt when she felt it, because I can feel that.
Mhm.
I don't
I can tell you I felt it when I sang it.
Yes, I bet you did. I am not surprised that you did. And if you would like to pick up your story, so we have Shelly hearing this song, and I
she
suggest
got the whole plan of the the project and the forward letter. So we built the site, and we didn't have any money. The three of us were very poor. So she said, and she was angry at God. She said, "Why does God ask poor people to do projects like this?" And I said, "Well, maybe to force us to work together." She said, "How can we pay for the whole thing itself? We're poor." I said, "Well, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to ask people around me to give me $10, like $20, $5, whatever they can. And I'm going to gather the money," because it was around $200 at the time for the whole thing. "And we're going to do this." And I said, "You can do the same thing in your area." And she said, "No, nobody will believe me." So I said, "Okay, fine, I'll do it here." And I gathered half of the money, and I gave half of the rest myself. And Brad Batio built the site. He's the one who wrote the music and did the album. He was my producer and boyfriend at the time. So, and we worked like 20 years together. So he built the site and, sent it. We sent off the forward letter. And after maybe 2 weeks, he was looking at the ratings, and he said, "Well, there's about 10, 12 people that comes on the site every day and read everything." People were reading everything. We had 6 pages. They read everything. But he says, if the Lightnings wants to save the world, it's not with 10, 12 people that they will do it. I said, "Well, we did our part. I'm pretty sure they're going to do theirs." And what happened is someone who was following George Newry sent him the forward letter. He read it, and he was blown away. And he said, "I want this woman on my show." And he had a cancellation that day. And he said, "I want her today." And he called her himself and talked to her. And she said, "Okay, I'm going to do it." And it was for her, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. And she did the show. And I remember I stayed up to listen to her. And it was amazing. And the next day, the site was crashing and crashing. We couldn't go on. And I was wondering why. And Brad looked at the ratings, like 60,000 people were coming. And he said, "I'm going to have to do a mirror site because there's too many people at the same time." 3 weeks before we fired the grid, because, the thing is to save this planet, because around every living thing and even inanimate objects, there's a grid which is a perfect image, a perfect energetic image of the object or the living thing. And this grid, when it's depleted of energy, started to collapse and disappear, which means the object or the living thing will die if we don't feed it. The human beings were supposed to bring the energy of the universe through them to the earth. That's our job, to do this. But we were not doing it, so it was depleting the grid energy around the earth. So by doing it consciously, bringing down this energy through us to the earth, we fired the grid. We replenished energy grid of the earth, and she could continue to live, and us with her. Of course, we need our planet.
Yes.
So that's what we did in 2007.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. Well, I will tell you how we got to the place of beginning to organize the podcast on the Wisdom app, which I'm hopeful that you're still able to be a guest on, a featured guest. I read this book called The Word, which is a channeled book by Paul Selig about spreading love. You know, that it's as though each of us is an agent of God. And we use the word love, we use it easily, but to actually make it a word of action, to actually make it a definition of who we are, of our behavior, is something that takes a lot of work. And many times we're not interested in doing it. And I have been a clairsentient since I was a child. And so I often say to people, I don't understand the word faith because I know. Just know. Faith is like saying this is an abstraction, and it isn't an abstraction to me. And so as I'm reading this book, I'm saying, gee, my guides have been teaching me this stuff for years. Now, his guides were leading him through writing this book. My guides led me through writing a book, too, called Uniquely Created, Divinely Inspired You. And I've been doing readings of it on the Wisdom app because when I finished it in 1997, I paid some money to a person who was an expert, with air quotes, to read it. And when they read it, they basically said to me it sounded like a book of greeting cards. And I had commissioned this beautiful art and so on. And so the book was extraordinarily expensive, and I just give it away for free. I'll send one to you as a thank you gift for doing this interview today. And
well, thank you.
Oh, you bet. You bet. So then as I came onto Wisdom, which is really an exciting community because there's so many diverse beliefs, but there's so much love, and your thinking grows and expands. And Angelina was the one who suggested I read I Am the Word. And I grew, my thinking started exponentially growing. And I began talking about raising consciousness, something that I probably had never thought about until I heard some of these young people on the airwaves. And I felt my energy level just rise up, and my crown chakra actually would start vibrating. And I was enlightened, and I was enlivened. I was made more whole, more fully alive. And as I began to practice living love as a verb as opposed to an adjective for feelings, I was growing. And then one morning I woke up and I thought, we need to do a virtual peace march, which was the beginning of this. I began talking to people. And that idea came because I was watching listening to a podcast where the guest, because they do talk podcasts just like you and I are doing here on Wisdom, and the guest who was sitting in a chair seemed frustrated when he says, I want peace now. And that just resonated in me. And the next morning, I woke up and thought, we need to do a virtual peace march. And I began working with Angelina Frost in an effort to try to put something together. And then as that is happening, I'm still growing in this concept of love and realizing that peace is a beautiful objective, don't get me wrong, but it can be treated as political. However, I have to tell you what we're suggesting is being treated by some as Satanist. So I don't know if you experienced that, but I'd like your thoughts if you did in just a moment. But anyway, what happened is as Angelina and I worked on this, she sent out on Wisdom that we would like to know an auspicious day, that we should schedule it. And we got back a response, August 8th. You know, the opening, the peak of the opening of the Lionsgate portal. And at the same time as Leo's new moon opens or arises. And so it's an enhancer. It's like a booster. So we can boost the energy. And Angelina, I was thinking small in the beginning. I was thinking, let's do 1 hour, just as you guys did. Not that that's small, because I think that's huge when you did it. And she said, let's do 24 hours. And today, before we started here, I want to apologize if I was a bit curt in my text, because what I was doing was creating the schedule. And we have at least 12 hosts, if not 24 hosts. And we have guests, and we have people who will come through the podcast, and we're covering 24 hours.
Oh.
That lifts my energy.
Impressive.
Yes. I am so proud. I'm so proud to have been associated with Angelina and her thinking about this, and I'm so honored to be a part of this. And, you know, when I was doing the schedule, I complained a little, God forgive me. I said, gee, I have a whole new respect for my assistants doing deposition schedules. But then my face lit up and I thought, and I wrote back and I said, but on the other hand, this is joyful and fun because we're realizing this event. We're making this dream manifest. So it's as though God has been signaling all the way through, and my guides are like encouraging, and I'm learning so many things just in the process, letting go of results. Just realizing, okay, they can come on and say we're from Satan. We know we're not.
It doesn't, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
well, it cannot be
matter.
anyways, because Satan doesn't like love and compassion and altruism, like people helping each other. Come on. Like, see, that's the opposite. That's easy to say that, to deter people that are doing good things. I did it the same thing with Fire the Grid. Oh,
tell us
meditate. Don't give your energy to the reptilians. They're going to take it against you. I said, what? Come on. 3 weeks before. Of course, you're going to have attacks like this when you do God's work. Of course. Yes. They're going to try to discredit you. But it doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't go together. When you give love, there's no more fear. Yes. And that's the opposite. Fear is the lack of love. When you bring love where fear is, fear disappears because you feel at peace inside. You feel good inside. Yes. And you're elevate reassured. The grid. Yes. 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 So that's not Satan work. That cannot be. No. That's funny. And I know absolutely it is. I know it is not. Yeah, I know absolutely. And I said, I actually said to someone who was saying that and justifying, he didn't, well, he was saying that. He may not have said it directly, but he was saying that. And I actually said, so what is it? I said, we were left with 2 commandments from Jesus. And I said, I just believe God is bigger than Jesus. I believe God is all God, everyone's name for God. But Jesus said there were 2 commandments.
love God. He didn't say love Jesus with your heart, your mind. Love me. He said love God with your heart, your mind, and your soul. And love others as you love yourself. And I said, isn't what you're saying that Jesus was lying about loving others as you love yourself? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Those words don't mean anything. And there was silence, and then he left the chair. But the reality is, for me, okay, people can believe what they want, and if it takes them to a place of peace and empowerment and love, then go for it. But any place where you have to decide that some part of God's children are unworthy, are not enough, are doomed, which creates a tremendous fear in our world. That's not God's message. That's not the message that will restore this planet to the beautiful description you gave us earlier of vibrant and full of life and happiness. So that's why we're doing this.
Yes. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah. I told my co-organizers that I was so excited because you saw this 24 hours as another Fire the Grid event. And that is beautiful. That is totally beautiful because I was hesitant in the beginning. In today's world, people get caught up in things like copyrights. Like, I only paid 99 cents for Skycent. I only paid 99 cents for Be Still Thy Soul. I play them all the time, but I don't make any money from them. But I thought, oh my gosh, am I violating your copyright? And
those songs were given as part of the project. Well, what you need to do is just to write where it's coming from and who's the company that did them. That's all you need to do.
I always skip. Yeah,
so
I always skip.
Once you give the credits, it's fine. You should tell people where to find it too, because some of them wants to buy it, so that helps us too. But it was given to the world when we did the first Fire the Grid. Those two songs.
Yes.
And they were downloaded 25 million
Yes, they
times.
were, absolutely.
So if we wanted to make money, we would be rich. But that was not the goal. The goal was to bring peace and harmony in the hearts of people and bring people together for this event.
Yes.
That's it.
And my grandson and I, and I'm thinking 17 years ago, we listened to the very first Fire the Grid together. It was 4:00 in the morning for us in Sacramento, and he was in 8th grade.
Okay.
And I pulled him out of the bed, and I started playing. I'm not sure which one. I think there may have been a recommended order, and I think it may have been Skycent first, and then Be Still Thy Soul. And I told him,
we had Light and Love at the time. We had the Light and Love.
Yes, I probably have that one too somewhere.
Yeah.
And here he is, a 14-year-old sitting there. I says, let the music lift your spirit, love. Just fill up your heart with love. And now let's just project it out. Project it to the world. Care about our fellow human beings. Care about our planet. And how can you be harmed? How can we be harming people if we invite them to fill up with joy?
People with love.
No, you can't harm people.
It's impossible.
Yeah, and when you ask them to fill up with joy, then that's what they're doing. They're filling up with love. They're remembering things. I love what Celia sent about thinking of I told someone, see, to me, Annie and Anael, I don't see coincidences. I get messages from God all of the time in all sorts of unexpected ways. And
synchronicities, that's how I call them.
Yes, it is. It's synchronicity, exactly.
Yep.
And what I got was that little dog that was making all the noise a few minutes ago. When she was a little teeny puppy, like 2 or 3 months old, she quickly, I would set her on my bed in a dog crate, a little teeny one, and she would work much of the night, more work than she does now, obviously, because she sleeps all the time, but she would open up the zipper. And so in the morning, I would close the zipper back up. And one morning, I looked to my right, and there was this little black ball of fur bouncing on the pillow next to me, so excited that I had seen her. She got out. And one of the things that Celia suggested to me was that we think of puppies. And that evoked that memory for me. And that filled me up with joy and happiness. And how often do we allow ourselves to forget those moments while we cling to the pains and suffering? Too often. Too often. And so I am so appreciative that I got that text on Messenger. I am so appreciative that you've agreed to participate here with me. I'm so appreciative that you're willing to participate in the wave of podcasts on Monday. And I have only to ask, tell us about the first day of firing the grid. I know that for us, we have been working so much that you're afraid of missing something, you know? And especially when you're trying to...
You can't work like this. You cannot be afraid of anything. You have to just go and do your best. That's it.
Yes.
You know, I was dealing with 300 emails a day, and I was working full time, plus making music, plus like taking care of the house. You know, I was.
Yes. Yes.
It was nonstop. And people thought we had a big team, but we were 3, and I was the one taking care of everybody. Like we had 42 teams around the world. We had in 92 countries, and I had 19 translators, because at the time there was no social media. It was email. It was only emails. Like there was no YouTube, there's no Facebook, nothing existed like this. So it was on, and just hands-on work. Constant work for 2 years.
Absolutely.
I had a burnout after, but I did it. I was the only one dealing with people, like answering questions, and because, Shelly, she's amazingly inspiring when she talks, but she doesn't know how to deal with people and deal with sites and websites and such. She has no knowledge of this, and she doesn't have this kind of energy either, because she had a very, very difficult life. So I was taking care of everything. And with Brad, Brad was taking care of the site, but I was dealing with people every day, all day. And it was an amazing amount of work, but I loved doing it. I was so inspired to do God's work, to do... to help my planet, to help the people around the world. And I even had a guy who was a general of a U.S. Air Force that was based in Iraq at the time during the war. And he said, I'm going to have my guys meditate.
Wow.
And he did. In the middle of Iraq, he did make his guy meditate for peace at that day. Princeton University, who had devices all around the world to check the change of a magnetic field, and there was a spike on that hour, during that hour.
Wow.
Which
oh
was
my gosh,
down,
that's so exciting.
It was going down, and then we had this spike that day during the meditation. So we had an effect, a global effect on the energy field of the planet.
Yes, yes.
So in 2007, it was to bring down this energy of the universe and ignite the grid again. In 2009, this energy traveled for a year and a half around the planet and went into a cave underneath Brazil, a crystal cave. And this energy had to go back up. So while this energy was going back up, we could program the field with our wishes of universal peace and abundance for everybody, and, you know, food and water, pure water, and the pollution, like, gone, like, to clean the planet. That's what we did in 2009. 2011, we had to prepare because we were going in a light barrier that would raise the energy of the earth very fast, and too fast for our human body to adapt. And many people would have been sick. So we did a meditation to raise our fields so we could go in this new light barrier without too much harm, which we did. Wow. And the light barrier, like, it was unheard of at the time. It was only in 2010 that the scientists talked about it. Before that, nobody knew about that. I even had a friend who was an astrophysicist who had never heard of it. So only in 2010.
Wow.
So everything Shelly received, Samoiya received from the light beings are accurate.
Yes.
It's accurate.
Yes.
So now the last event will be on February 21st, 2023 at 11:07 GMT. We don't know why they changed the time, but it's 11:07 for some reason. They have a reason, which I don't remember right now, so I won't tell you, but
that's okay.
It's 11:07,
I'm just dealt with the time.
We have to be joyful and happy and be in gratitude for this life, because the earth is living in mitosis right now. She's separating in two realities. One, and it's not the first time, the Mayans told us about this. It's not the first time they go through this. One is going to go into destruction, and the other one will continue in consciousness and raise the vibration is going to be very high, and it will bring us into a new state of existence. But the separation right now, we're living the two realities at the same time. I mean, we see there's a separation between people right now. And there's more and more people that want a positive change. And that's what's needed to go into this new field.
Yes.
So we have to amplify it consciously. We have to amplify our energy so we raise our frequency to be able to go through that change in field energy. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do on February 21st, 2023 at 11:07.
I've got it marked.
And you, with your project, you're already preparing people for that. So it's a very necessary step. What you do is very important.
Thank you.
You're preparing people for that event. So you raise energy already. You're preparing. So it's very important that you do this.
Yes, yes. And even if people don't believe, they know what it feels like to be joyful and full of happiness. And those simple acts amplify our vibrations. That amplifies our vibration. So, it's a win-win, totally a win-win. And thank you so much for saying that we're helping to prepare people for the event. It's certainly been a challenge, and it's been very exciting as we are putting all of this together. But the reality is we are leaving the results to God, and God is the one who's motivating and propelling us. And so it's God's plan we're realizing here, not our plan. Every day we have to move a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left. How do we accommodate this, and what are we going to do? And we've decided we're going to operate, rather than Greenwich Mean Time, we're going to operate from Eastern Time. And so that means that for all the scheduling, I have to make the adjustment from Eastern Time to whatever time zone we're in. And that has been an exciting challenge. But it keeps things organized, and it keeps things focused. And some people are going to read love poems. Some people are going to talk about love auras. Some people are going to talk about just being a love actor. It's going to be beautiful. It truly is. And there are probably going to be, I warned people today, I said, there's probably going to be naysayers amongst our hosts too, and what we do is we just pray for them and release. Because we don't want to, if we start getting ourselves all worked up, then what do? We lower our energy and we lower the Earth's energy.
Because when we're happy like this, when we bring this uplifting energy of joy and harmony and peace, we are feeding the grid energy around the Earth. Our grid first, and then the energy around the Earth, because they're linked together. So we're flooding the juncture of those hexagons, because they're all hexagons. Every human beings have a hexagon. Every living thing has a hexagon up there, and they're all the same, and they feed on each other. So every person that feeds their grid will affect 1,000 more. 1,000 people will be affected. They won't even know what's going on. They will be affected. So that's why it's important to do it in group, because if you do it in group, it's amplified even more. Yes. It's huge. And when you do it in an electronic medium, you are now have the enhancement of pure energy conveying the message. And so it's like energy, increasing energy, increasing energy. There is a gentleman on Wisdom.app that calls himself Wisdom.audio, I guess it is. But he calls himself Daryl with the dashes. And he basically is very ingenious of thinking of catchy young words that are lift aspirations for the young and help them believe that we're on course. And what he said was that we each have a God spark. Oh, yeah. And that God spark is what we're looking to charge up. And they're all connected, all together. Yep. And I think one. Yes, we are one. We are one. And that's beautiful. I don't know why that's frightening to some, but it's beautiful. It's liberating. It enables people to make their own conscious free will decisions without being bound by someone else's rules about what they need to be in order to be loved by God. It's beautiful. Just beautiful.
So we have about 42 minutes left, and it looks as though people were having, I've gotten a couple of texts, some people were having problems calling in, and I did have two speakers at the beginning, or two other people on at the beginning, but I lost them because I had audio issues. But what I would like to talk to you for a few moments more, before I'm going to let you finish up what you would like to say. And then I would like to talk to you about being on Wisdom audio and how you feel comfortable doing it and the time periods. And we could do that here, or you and I can go to the Zoom meeting. It's your choice.
I don't mind doing it here.
Okay, great. All right. So
unless you prefer that it's Zoom, I don't care. Yeah, but whatever suits you.
No, Annie, I am a fan. Yesterday, I was running around after you told me your stage name. I was running around telling everyone. Oh my gosh. I just was overjoyed. I feel so blessed to have had this opportunity to speak with you. And I'm open. I'm transparent. I have no secrets. I came out of the closet a long time ago as a clairsentient, and I came out of the closet as a full 100% committed believer in God and in our unity with God a long time ago. I started a podcast here on Blog Talk Radio in 2007. And it's so hysterical because when I came in today, I had been gone for several months, and when I came in, I didn't recognize the studio. Therefore, I was having the audio issues were a product of my not doing the right things. But they all got fixed.
New equipment? You had new equipment?
Yeah, the studio is on the computer, but it's been upgraded. It's like Instagram. Okay. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how to do Instagram. I can't even figure it out. Yeah, but that's okay because I'm not a young person. And the world, it's time to pass the baton, including the knowledge that we are all connected to God and we are all loved by God. It's time to pass that. And the young people know it. They're talking in terms of a paradigm shift, which I would suggest is what you're describing is coming when the two realities, they talk in those terms.
Are going to separate,
Yes.
But in the end, what's going to decide where you end up is your frequency. That's it. If your frequency is low, well, there's going to be another tour later. But right now, you have to raise your frequency and be kind with people and be forgiving and be loving and be joyful and have fun. I did all this and I had the energy to do it because I had fun doing it. I loved doing it. It was exciting for me to meet all those people and, see them. Right now, if you are a young person, the future looks doom and gloom because they have no solutions. But if you bring them solutions, they will go for it. They will embark. They will participate. So, and that's and the light being said to Shelly, the young people are very important because they're the future.
Yes,
they are. And they have the energy.
Yeah, it's the old folks, and you know what? I'm one of the old folks. I think I'm unique in that my message is eternal. It's not, and a lot of people say. People who come on who want to belittle, they talk in terms of new age. And I will tell you my comeback there. I said, well, in the book of Malachi, chapter 12, verse 2, or something to that effect, maybe it's verse 10, it says, we have one creator We have one Father. And why? And I'm giving you a summary here. Why do we malign our brothers and sisters? That's Malachi in the Old Testament. It's one of the older Bibles, one of the older Testaments. So it's like, my gosh, folks, this message is not new. We're not awakening, we're recognizing. We are recognizing. We are remembering the truth. And there's this one young man who was on Wisdom.app who basically says that all of the texts that talked about our being equal to God, are not needing an intermediary to God, are being enough for God. There being enough God for all of us. Those are all stored in secret places, because if that became known, the power structure of those in control in religions would collapse. But we have someone here. I'm going to bring them in. But in any event, on this podcast, when I left the chair, because it's a talk format, when I left the chair, the young person said into the microphone that I was dangerous. And that the churches were going to kill me. Yeah, the churches were going to kill me.
Okay, so are you talking from a place of love? When you talk like
exactly.
This?
Yes.
Are you
I don't know.
From God? Like, is your inspiration comes from God? Really?
Yeah.
When you talk about killing someone? Because she is different?
Yes. And I definitely am different.
I don't think Jesus would agree with you. That's for sure.
Yes. Yes.
Because he's all loving.
Yes. I don't think so either.
He never judges.
Yeah. No,
he was there
exactly.
for the poor and the sick, and he was respectful.
Love your enemies.
So, exactly. So, I think you're scared.
I think they're scared.
The person
I think
is very
people
scared.
are. Yes, I think so. I absolutely think so too.
But there is definitely not loving. Definitely not loving. And following Jesus' path.
Yes. But it's interesting is all of this discussion shows that fear is so dominant in the lower energy frequency that we are confronting. But if we can lift our energy level up, do you believe it's possible, based on your work, that we can also elevate the negative energy up and cleanse it and re-energize it?
We don't. Okay. The first thing is never think about the negative energy. It doesn't exist.
Okay.
It exists only within us. And once we're at peace within us, it reflects around us. This peace and this love reflects around us. So the universe is holographic. It reflects who we are and what we have to learn on this planet. We have to learn unconditional love. That's the only lesson we have to learn, and it takes sometimes eons for our soul to get it.
Yeah.
But it's never outside of us. It's always inside of us. It's always a reflection for us to see what we have to work on. And once we worked on it, and once we master this lesson, there's another lesson coming, because it's eternal.
Yes.
The souls are eternal. They're eternally learning to be more and more loving, and that's how we go up the scale of evolution. We become more conscious.
Yes, exactly.
It's easy. You just have to follow like 4 things like respect, be grateful, live in harmony, and be altruistic, like help people around you as much as you can. Not over, you have to love yourself too, so don't forget yourself, because people like us have a tendency to forget themselves.
Yes.
And they get they empty themselves. So just respect, compassion, forgiveness, and unconditional love. If you apply just those 4 things in your everyday life, you're okay.
Yes.
Whatever your beliefs are, it's not important. Beliefs are structures that man invented to make himself comfortable, but also some people took those organizations to control men. But you have to develop your direct connection to God or to Source.
Yes.
And follow your heart. Always follow your heart. That's where the guidance is. Call it angels, call it guides, call it God. That's where the directions are.
That's where the God spark is.
Yes. And that's where he talks to you.
Yes, absolutely. And what's interesting is we had gotten an email yesterday from someone questioning, having some questions. And my immediate response back was, follow your heart. It got you to this place. No coincidence. We synced on that. Yeah. And so that reaffirms to me that that's an important message we need to get out to the hosts. Follow your heart.
Yeah.
Follow your heart.
All the time.
Absolutely.
I had a hard time at the beginning of my life, of my spiritual path, to understand what it meant. Because I was so much in my head, like so logical and scientific, that I couldn't understand what it meant until I was explained. Follow your instinct. Your heart is your instinct. Even though it doesn't make sense, like turn left instead of turning right. Yeah. Even if it doesn't make sense, there's a reason for it. You have to follow it. Your heart knows better than your head. And it's been proven scientifically even, because the energy field of the heart is 5 meters wide. The head is about 1. So the heart knows better.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
And when you go close to someone else, you can affect their fields positively. Mm-hmm. Well, you better do it positively, because everything you send will come back 1,000-fold. So better be careful about what you think and how you think about someone else.
Yes.
Because it's going to come back to you. And you're going to have trouble.
Yeah, I so agree with that. I didn't know about the 1,000-fold, but I certainly agree with that. As part of the book that we were talking about, I Am the Word by Paul Selig, that he channeled, he basically had these exercises, or the guides that were speaking to him had exercises, and they were new exercises. Some of them were dealing with lessons I had been being taught for a long time, but I went forward with the new exercises to see if there's something new I needed to be aware of, because it wasn't any accident. That book was in my lap, and I was reading it. And one of those exercises is so beautiful and so inspiring about energy. It said basically, lift up your frequency and begin feeling love before you're going to exit your house. So you're kind of elevating your energy, and you're elevating your energy, and you think, I am love, I am word, I am love, I am that. And now when you leave your house, as you approach people, I am that. And you think that with your energy, and you're sending it out ahead of you. And I happen to live in Mexico most of the time, and here I find that the citizens are phenomenally polite. You don't need to know someone for them to say good morning. Sometimes they'll add in, how are you, but many times not, but they'll say, have a good day. Those are big accomplishments. Good morning, have a good day, when you don't know somebody. So as I was going out, I thought I would try being a love actor by taking it the next step and saying, ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? How are you? And so I was walking down the sidewalk, and I was asking that, and I was noticing people's faces would light up. They would get so excited by being asked, how are you? How are you? That engagement, that connection.
Yeah.
And I had a group of 4 men walking toward me, and they were going to work. And they generally had walked by me in the past, and I would say buenos dias to them, but they would look down, you know. And I said to them, ¿Cómo está? And the leader's face lit up, and he looked me in the eye. Muy bien, ¿y tú? And it followed with all 4 of them, that you could see exactly the same pattern. They weren't mirroring each other. They weren't mimicking each other. They were genuinely feeling this energy of love, of respect for my fellow man. And this is not to say, wow, look at me. I don't mean it that way. It's instead to say, look at the power of love. Look at the power of love.
Love
it's beautiful.
Is the motor of the universe. That's what makes the universe work.
Exactly.
Love.
Exactly.
It brings love and life goes together.
Yes. Yes. They do.
Like hate and death goes together. So love goes with life. When you love, you don't want to hurt anyone. When you love, you want people to be happy around you and have a smile on their face, and you do everything to have a smile on their face.
Yes.
And when you see someone suffer, you love them to help them go through that difficult phase. So that's why love is so important. It's the food. It's a food.
Yes.
An invisible food, but it's a food. It feeds you, and it can heal you too.
Absolutely.
Because it fills your field of energy.
Yes. Yes.
That's what they did to save Evan, Shelly's son. People were transferring their energy to him so he can come back to life.
Yes. 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 She had a personal miracle. And that's beautiful.
It's a double miracle. It's a double miracle.
Yes,
he was a
you're
miracle,
right.
And he was a miracle.
And he was a miracle.
Because she didn't need any medication. She just came back after 7 minutes of CPR. Like the guy was, he was done. He said, she's gone. And she just set up. Go get my kid. Oh, there's a child in the car. So they went back in the water to find him. They couldn't find him. But there was a boom truck up a little hill, and they went to see the guy and brought the boom truck there, and they put a hook on the car, and they lifted the car out of the water, and they saw his body floating in the back window.
Wow.
But like I said, I won't tell the whole story, but that's part of the story.
It's on the okay. All right. And we have someone here. Let me bring them in. They're on mute right now.
Yeah.
And let me ask them. Hi, how are you? 770.
I am good. Thank you.
Good. May
My name
I
is
ask
Maddie.
you who Hi, Maddie.
Maddie.
How are you?
I'm
Yes.
good, thank you. I just tuned in, and I thought, what is love? You are enough.
Yeah, you are enough, Maddie. That is absolutely true. We are just in the last few minutes here, and I always hate to give a synopsis of what someone has said, but we have Anael, who is the singer and co-creator, co-organizer of Fire the Grid, and the singer of Be Still Thy Soul, and Skycent. And if you go online, you will hear her music, Anael, Anael, and she has.
.net.
We've been talking.
.net, Mara.
.net.
ANAEL.
That's ANAEL.
Yes.
ANAEL. Yeah, Anael.net. And she is the co-organizer or the organizer of Fire the Grid, which began in 2005 and is a day where, why don't you, we've got a few minutes here, Annie, what would be the words you would want to tell Maddie about Fire the Grid?
Well, Fire the Grid is now several events to bring energy and consciousness to this planet, like energy to the field of the planet, because it was depleted of energy at the time and it needed to be reignited. So that's what we did in 2007, 2009, 2011, and now the last event is going to be on February 21st, 2023 at 11/7 GMT, and I invite everyone on that day to bring up their energy field by doing something they love, and that brings joy to them. It can be going on a boat, or it can be play with your dog. Anything that brings you joy will help raise the frequency so we can cross the fifth field and create this new world we want. All of us want, like a peaceful world with abundance for all. Nobody lacks of anything, and with no pollution, and like we could live our lives in peace for once. So that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
February the 11th, 2023, you said?
February 21st, 2023 at 11/7 GMT. We all do this synchronistically, so everyone on the planet is doing it at the same time to get
a beautiful experience.
Will that be online, or that would be at a specific facility?
Yes. Yeah, no, everybody can do it at home, like wherever they want.
Okay.
But yes, there's going to be a meditation online, that's for sure.
Okay.
Fire the Grid.
February the 21st.
Fire the Grid on YouTube. You can find it.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Fire the Grid.
I love
World.
to go to YouTube. Oh, yes.
Okay.
And a sooner event to Fire the Grid is going to be a 24-hour wave of podcast on wisdom.audio on Monday, this coming Monday. It will start at 7 o'clock on Sunday evening and continue for 24 hours till 7 o'clock on Monday evening.
Okay.
And it is, that day was selected because it is the peak for the rising of the Lionsgate portal as well as the new moon in Leo. And it's a time that enhances manifestation for abundance and happiness. And
oh, wow, that is, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Great. But we would be excited to have you participate, please.
Sunday you'll be excited to help me do what? 7 o'clock on Sunday.
August 7th at 7 o'clock to August 8th at 7 o'clock.
My two numbers. Wow.
Yes. Wow.
Those are
and it's going to be.
Those are my two numbers, 7 and 8. Wow.
Wow. Well,
and
then,
the lounge gate is going to be open, you say?
It's going to be at its peak. It began opening on July 26th, and it will be at its peak on August 8th and begin closing again, with it being fully closed by August 13th.
Oh, my God. Okay. Fully
so it's
closed.
it's an auspicious
and that
time, Maddie.
Pardon me?
I'm sorry?
Hello? I said, and that
yes.
Lions Gate being open, that has to do with, I want a little bit more clarity. Is that has to do with put out in the ether what you desire?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Yes.
And it enhances, it provides an abundance of what you're putting out. And so what we're going to be doing is having 24 hours of love podcasts at wisdom.audio. And you're invited to join and come listen and participate. Or you can do it at home. You can just start elevating your energy and be a participant by filling your mind with loving thoughts, consciously thinking about what you love in your life and why all day long. That elevates your energy.
Such enlightenment, because that is what I've been doing here recently, and I don't know why, but I've been feeling happy. It's like
good,
great.
Something radiating inside of me. And it's like just now when you told me about the Lions Gate, I just felt happiness come over me. Like, oh,
yes,
and
yes,
and I was thinking also is that here recently, 2 people have told me I see a miracle.
Yeah.
And the last one said, enjoy your miracle. And I'm thinking, what miracle is going to come? I think you never know, until it happens. But it just kind of had me thinking about it every day, like a miracle going to come my way. What is that going to be?
A miracle is coming your way every day. Because every day, the only time we actually have is the present.
Yes.
And I believe, when you believe that you are loved by God, then God guides you to messages and to visions that you need to see that will uplift you and remind you of your divine connection. So every day is a miracle.
Beautiful.
And that means you can have miracles in your life forever. And, and don't allow yourself, in my opinion, to think that a miracle has to be a moment of perfection. Because there is so much beauty in imperfection.
Imperfection. That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
And we miss it because, this isn't perfect. Be satisfied with knowing that you are a perfect creation of God, just as you are, Maddie. You are enough. You are equal to everyone, and you are loved by God unconditionally. Absolutely is the word. You are absolutely loved by God. No doubt about it.
Yes.
And that is the miracle of my life. Just that knowledge lifts me up and fills me with joy every day.
I just love it. Oh my God, what enlightenment. I needed to hear that.
I'm so glad you're here. And
I'm so glad I tuned in at the last minute. It's like,
me too.
What is, And
I don't do blog talk radio very often. I do wisdom audio. I kind of switched my podcast over there. but I do regular presentations there, and you're welcome to join and come. And at Wisdom, rather than calling in to speak, and I wish I had used this talk part of Blog Talk. I've been here since 2007, and I wished I had used this talk part more. But
I see.
At Wisdom Audio, it's kind of like a TED Talk format. So there's a person who comes in with a concept, and then you get to sit in a chair and talk about your thoughts on it.
Wisdom.net, you say?
Wisdom.
I love it.
Wisdom.audio.
Oh, wisdom.audio. Okay.
Yes, please. I would love to hear you there, and I would love to see you be a part of our Wave of Love podcasts on Monday and Sunday evening. It's going to go all night long, 24 hours of love. And
well, I'm going to definitely write it. I'm going to definitely write it on my calendar and tune in. Sunday
please
at 7.
do.
You're going to add your energy to this beautiful wave of love. Thank
you. Wow.
Thank you.
I am a light worker. Yes, definitely.
Yes, you
that's
are.
For sure.
Yes.
You absolutely are, and that's the miracle right there.
Yes. I just, wisdom.net, and I didn't log in. Do you have to sign up for this? You
can join. You can join.
Okay.
And that gives you the right to move between all of the podcasts, to be a podcast host, but they don't charge you anything for it. Which is a little different than Blog Talk, because I know that I pay a monthly fee to be here. But this Blog Talk is great. Blog Talk got me.
I always tune into Blog Talk, but I never heard of wisdom.net. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have
Blog
to log
Talk
in.
Yes. And Wisdom Audio is a new phenomena. It just started last fall in October. I think it's coming up on its 1-year anniversary soon. And it's basically composed of a lot of young people and old people like me. I'm 73, so I'm an old one on there. But people who talk about their feelings about God, whether they're from a point of religiosity and they want to talk about their religious beliefs, or they talk about it from a general we are all loved by God standard. And there's many in-betweens. It's a very diverse group of people, and there's everything. They talk about finances and all sorts of stuff. It's a wonderful forum. It will cost you nothing to join, and you can go through and see if you like it. And my handle there is amperin, that little at sign, at Mara, MARA _now, NOW. So I'm very pleased that you called in, and I'm very pleased we were able to get you on the air. That's a success story today. And that's the miracle today, is that it ended up working. And the miracle today, if I may say, folks, is that we had the wonderful Anael here to talk to us about fire the grid, and the journey that has gone forth, and how the science that has come out of it, and the idea that I'm impressed with it all. But
I'm definitely going to go back and listen to the archives.
Please do. The one thing that lifted my heart was when she said that as we fill ourselves up with energy, we affect 1,000 other energy.
People, 1,000 people around us.
1,000 people around us. So that joyous feeling that you're feeling right now, perhaps what your friends were describing to you, is the miracle that you are affecting. You are helping lift the energy of 1,000 other people.
Beautiful. I love it.
And we're going to do a chain reaction on that.
Yes, we are.
Explosion of love. An explosion of love. How about that?
That is beautiful. An explosion of love.
Love it.
An explosion
love is
of
the
love.
greatest nourishment. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's really all we need.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If we just remember to be actors of love rather than judges of worthiness.
Oh, yeah.
The world would change.
Oh, I love that.
Would change.
I love that also.
Thank you, Mara.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well, I am, Maddie, I hate to tell you this, but we're about ready to lose our time. We'll stop streaming in about 2 minutes.
I see that. Well, I'm happy I was able to tune in.
Well, thank you, Maddie.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. You've elevated our energy. Thank you, Maddie. Peace be with you and namaste. I salute your inner divinity.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. You
Bye.
take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. What a beautiful, beautiful telephone conversation. Thank you, Anael. Thank you. Thank you for
Anael.
all that you've shared.
Anael, Mary.
Anael.
Anael, yes.
Anael,
yes.
Anael. I always say Anael, so excuse me, I apologize. But,
it's okay. It's okay.
No insult intended. At least I knew who you were.
You know what it means in Hebrew? It means Song of God. That's what it means.
Wow.
It's the Archangel of Friday. It was part of the creation of the earth, and it's the highest expression of love, of divine love. That's what it means.
Wow.
Anael. Mm-hmm.
Anael, the highest expression of divine love. You have taught me so much. Thank you very much. Thank you for your your patience with me as we got this together, and thank you for agreeing to this interview. We are blessed.
Well, it was a pleasure, Mara.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you, my sister. Thank you, my new friend. I feel like I know your energy from another time, perhaps another life.
Oh,
I
that's
don't know.
probably right. Yeah.
Yes.
I have that feeling too.
But I am so appreciative. There are not enough words to tell you that.
Well, I'm appreciative of your invitation.
Thank you.
And the opportunity for me to talk about Fire the Grid and bring people together. Thank you very, very much for the beautiful work you're doing and raising consciousness and helping this planet every way you can.
Thank you. You're so very kind. And I want to thank the co-organizers. I have Kelly Swenson and Angelina Frost, who helped me get everything organized for this event, who helped make this event on Monday, August 8th, 2022, at the peak of the Lions Gate portal opening for 24 hours. It wouldn't have happened without Kelly and Angelina and all of the other people that I have met at wisdom.audio. And I really encourage you to join and think about it. And we may come back here and have a podcast here during the live podcast on Wisdom, because this is a beautiful site. And I've been a part of this for a very long time. And so thank you, Blog Talk Radio, for being here, and thank you all for participating. Peace be with you. I'm going to end the episode. As it was in the beginning, it now and ever shall be, world without end. Om Namaste.